Power of the Elements is going to be the best set that we've had this year, and it's actually going to be way deeper than you think. Some players think that the TCG will completely one-for-one mimic the OCG, with sprites and tier elements dominating the format. This is your first rodeo here, huh? It's kind of crazy between all of the hype between sprite and tier elements, a lot of players are missing some strategies that are completely incredible. Don't worry, big dog. Today we're going to be talking about some of the most powerful strategies to come out of Power of the Elements. This is actually going to be a completely new meta. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing update Monday. It's actually been 1 year, 1 month, and 2 weeks of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. One thing I want to share with you guys that has 100% helped me on my journey is to stop judging yourself based on other people's success. Judge yourself based on what you did before. I mean, it is only human nature to compare something to something else, but the something else that you 100% should be comparing yourself to is the previous you. Why? It's because everyone's purpose is different, and when you compare your purpose to someone else's, that's when you lose your purpose. It's kind of ironic I say that because players are comparing the OCG, the original card game, the game played in Japan, to the TCG, saying that sprites and tier elements are going to ruin the meta. I don't think that that's 100% true. Regardless, we are entering a new Yu-Gi-Oh meta with the Power of the Elements set coming out, so allow me to update you on some of the best strategies looking forward. Of course, I will be posting profiles of every single one of these strategies on my Patreon, just as a small thank you for helping me pay my editors. Without further ado, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's start talking about these strategies. So because players are so hype about both tier element and the sprite strategy, this strategy often gets overshadowed and goes so under the radar. But if there's one thing I have to tell you, that the Exo Sisters strategy is an amazing strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh! What? I said it right, Exo Sister. I'm not backing down from that. Yes, Peasant Callie, feel the stepsister love. And if she gets stuck in the dryer, you know exactly what to do. How the Exo Sister strategy works is that when your opponent moves cards out of the graveyard, you can use your Exo Sister monsters to be able to Exceed summon into Exo Sister Exceed monsters, and these are trigger effects, meaning that they can be used on your turn or your opponent's turn. The Exo Sister strategy has a variety of great extra deck monsters, ranging from negation to banishment to searching. They have just about everything in between. But what really puts this strategy over the roof is the new Exo Sister Martha. They really named it Martha. Exo Sister Martha can summon herself to the side of the field, and then the appropriate Exo Sister monster from your deck that is already 2 monsters that can make 2 Exceeds off of 1 card. Martha also doesn't need your opponent to move cards out of the graveyard like the other Exo Sisters, so if you use cards like DD Crow to stop your opponent, you could be on the way to Exceed summoning into one of your Exo Sister Exceeds. Then there's the new trap card in Exo Sister Returnia that is coming out in Power of the Elements. Not only does this card allow you to banish a card in your opponent's graveyard, really good against both tier elements and sprite coming out in this set, it also allows you to Exceed summon into any Exo Sister monster you want to, and then banish another card on your opponent's side of the field. The Exo Sister strategy actually has some really good cards like Exo Sister Vetus and Exo Sister Pax to be able to recruit Exo Sister monsters to the side of the field. And seeing that the strategy is fairly consistent, the engine isn't as big, you can play a ton of hand traps with these 1-card combos, being able to disrupt your opponent. Exo Sister is easily one of the most slept on decks inside of Power of the Element, especially if we move to a format where it's nothing but sprite and tier element. Now, it is pretty obvious to just about everyone that sprites will have some type of impact on this format. I just don't think it's going to be as high as some people think it's going to be. The sprite strategy is based off of being able to summon level 2 monsters to your side of the field. The more level 2 monsters you can summon, the better your combo is. Oftentimes, they make totally awesome with a Sprite Elf, meaning that their totally awesome can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and Sprite Elf will allow you to special summon the totally awesome back to your side of the field after it's used its negation effect if your opponent controls a monster. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I think Sprite won't be as powerful as it is in the TCG as the OCG. The very first and most important one is that we play 2 totally different card games. Our Forbidden List in meta is vastly different. I mean, look at our Forbidden List. They have Maxi, and that is one of the biggest problems with the sprite problem inside of the OCG format. Keep in mind, the sprite strategy could literally search Max C. That's not possible inside of the TCG. And as much as you just might hate the card, Mystic Mine might actually be a legitimate answer against the sprite strategy, as the OCG did not have it. Sprites are also very weak to a myriad of cards that are commonly played in the TCG, as well as some new cards that people are going to be trying out. Of course, if you want to see a meta counter guide on how to beat Sprite, as well as some other strategies, go ahead and let me know down below in the comment section. Be sure to like this video as well, as it really does help the algorithm. Now, moving away from the sprite strategy, we actually have to talk about a strategy that is ridiculously good and got the right support inside of Power of the Elements. Therion has not only proven itself to be a top contender inside of the format that we currently sit in, when Power of the Elements comes out, this strategy gets so much better. How Therions work is that you can special summon these monsters to your side of the field by equipping the appropriate type or a Therions monster to your graveyard. This is actually supplemented by the Punk engine, as the Punk monsters need to be able to discard cards from your hand to the graveyard, and Therions need monsters into the graveyard. This is a match made in heaven. The new monster from Power of the Elements, Therions Irregular, can summon itself to the side of the field by attaching up to 3 Therion monsters from your graveyard. This actually doesn't seem very productive until you realize that there's a lot of things you can do with that. A lot of Therion monsters have effects that require you to send cards from your hand or field to the graveyard, and getting 3 free cards from your graveyard to be able to proc some of your other Therions, that's good. But what makes Irregular really good is that you can send one Endless Engine aggro from your hand to the graveyard to destroy all cards on your opponent's side of the field. Yes, all of them. Therions actually are fairly good at going second, and now they have a blowout card to be able to eviscerate all of your opponent's cards on the way to making an OTK. Then to complement our Therion King Regulus, there's the new Therion Empress Horatia, which allows you to special summon a Therion monster from your spell and trap card zone by discarding a card. Yeah. The Therion strategy has upped its game on the ability to be able to extend, go second, and be able to make Exceed 7s, 8s, Synchro 10s, and 11s with ease. The Punk engine really helps this deck out, and I genuinely think that Therions, well, I mean, proof is in the pudding. Its 5 tops at the championship should show you that Therions are one of the better decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, it really shouldn't be a surprise to you that tier elements are going to be meta changer. Personally, when I first seen the strategy, I was like, this is good. Then I was like, this is okay. Then I was like, oh my god, this shit is bad, just throw it away. Then I actually found a build that worked, and I was like, oh, yo, this is how squad doing. The tier limit strategy is based off of being able to send tier limit monsters to the graveyard to trigger their effects. They allow you to fusion summon in the graveyard. Now, when the OCG tier limits didn't do really well when they first came out, they needed the Ishizu cards to genuinely be dominant. I don't think that's much of a problem in the TCG. Again, I think one of the huge impactors here is without Max C, the tier limit strategy is allowed to special summon as many times as it wants to without the repercussions of Max C. This strategy can also make some really hard checks to any deck that wants to Exceed summon, Synchro summon, or that requires a particular level, as being able to fusion summon into Predaplant Dragon Stapelia is this deck's main thing. Oh yeah, and almost forgot, being able to fusion summon into El Shaddoll Winda is another main thing. I actually just so happen to have all of the information that you need about the tier limit strategy. I have not only a combo video, but a testing video on that, as well as sprites, so go ahead and check those out. And lastly, I have to mention not necessarily an archetype, but one monster that changes everything. The new Mathmech monster in Mathmech Circular allows you to send one Mathmech monster from your deck to the graveyard to summon this card to your side of the field. Consequently, if a Mathmech monster is summoned to your side of the field while you control this card, you can also add one Mathmech spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. It literally has no restrictions. I guess you can only attack with one monster that turn, but is that a restriction if you're going first? Sending a monster like Mathmech Sigma from your deck to the graveyard, which can only be special summoned by having no monsters in the extra monster zone, so you get 2 free monsters for nothing. This legitimately helps just about every competitive cyber strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Mathmechs themselves easily get a boost of free search and 2 monsters to their side of the field. Both Salamangreat and Ignister can have access to their update jammer or their Splash Mage without committing a normal summon. Marine says, I mean, they could play it. I mean, I don't see a real reason to do it, but they could play it. Ironically, every single one of these strategies, for the exception of MathMech, topped the North American Championship. That's pretty good. MathMech Circular will come full circle in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, as this just helps any Cybers deck that wants to take full advantage. And that is all that I have for the meta changing because of Power of the Elements. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Are there some other strategies that I need to be talking about? Also, be sure to catch me on Twitch today, Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go ahead and type in TheCaliEffect, as I hope to see you there.